So in today's video, I'll be doing a top 10 must-have units in AnimeLastStand, and I will not be including limited units like Law, Freeran, and Sid, like the summer units, because they are not as easy to access as normal units. So I don't really want new players to try to go for those. Instead, I think it's better if you try to go for some units on this list. In my opinion, at least, I think that's gonna get you further in the game faster. But I think that's enough talking. Let's just get into the list, and let me know if y'all disagree with anything after watching the whole list. So for the top 10, barely getting into the top 10, I have Mina / Division Captain. This unit is such a good boss killer, and there's actually this idol soul which is pretty good for her. Now I do have glitch on this unit, but this unit is just amazing as a boss killer because she is pretty expensive, so she's not really the best for short form like glitching stages and story. But yeah, I'll just quickly show her here, show what she does. So as you can see here, she has like a line as a heal unit, which kind of sucks to be honest, but she costs 20k for 13 million damage, which is really good, plus her crits of course, so she's gonna be doing more than that. Now her upgrades are pretty expensive, so again, as I said before, I would mainly bring this for long form content. But yeah, again, you can also bring the idol soul on her, which is gonna reduce it a little. But if we just upgrade a little here, you can see that she goes up to 95 million. And I mean, 300k to max, it's not even that crazy with how OP farms are in this game. And when she does crit, she's gonna be doing like 250 million, nearly 300 million when she crits. That's why I think she's one of the best boss killers. Like that, plus her range is insane, so you don't have to replace her. You can just set her as the strongest and she'll keep hitting the boss over and over again. I think that's enough about her now, and if you don't think she belongs in top 10, I think it's fair enough. Ichigo is maybe someone you could replace with her, but let's just get into the top 9. Now here for top 9, I actually have a pretty old unit. I think Shanks is still a top 9 best unit overall in the game. This guy is such a good support still after Julius got changed, so he's really the only full AoE stun in the game, and his DPS is still not bad. He was number 1 DPS in the game for little months. So let's just go in and check this guy. I mean, I still think this guy is up there. So as we can see on placement, his damage is not crazy, and his first few upgrades, his damage isn't still that crazy. Also, when he gets the first full AoE, it's still pretty mid, but when you get to upgrade 8 and he starts stunning, that's when he's really good, because this stun is really good. He does poison plus conquers, and conquers is the thing that stuns the enemies. And he's the only full AoE stun now since Julius got changed to a time stop ability, and Gojo is actually a better time stop, but that doesn't have anything to do with Shanks. Shanks is also one of the few good water units, and his, as you can see here, his max DPS is not bad at all. You gotta remember, this is Overlord, not like Avatar or Glitch, so his DPS is not gonna be as insane, but he still has really good DPS, and he's really not that expensive. So this guy is still top 9 in my opinion, mainly for, again, long former content like caverns, infinites. So for the top 8, this might surprise some of you, but I actually have Maru. Now Maru I had a lot higher on my last list, but I have kind of figured out how Black Flames work now. So Black Flames are actually not as OP as you think. It doesn't even proc the full damage that it shows. As you can see here, he does like 1 million on placement, which is really good, and his first few upgrades are one of the best, if not the best, for early game in the game. Like, this guy is insane. As you can see here, Meteor Shower is also pretty good, and then we keep upgrading. And when it comes to King of Destruction, that is when he kind of falls off, even though his damage goes up by so much, because Black Flames take so long to proc that it can't even proc all the Black Flames before he starts a new one. So it can't even use the full damage that it shows before he starts a new burn, because the Black Flames do not stack. So yeah, it just overrides it and you don't get the full damage. So he is not as OP as you might think, but he's still a really good unit. And I mean, besides that, you can still use him for so much stuff. I mean, he's one of the best early game units because of the normal burn, and Black Flames is not terrible, but it's just not as good as you think. So still an amazing unit at top 8 is not bad at all, but let's just get into the top 7. So for top 7, I actually have Hakari. Now this might come as a surprise for some of you since he's a pretty new unit, but his like crit damage is so insane that I gotta put him here. Of course, I don't have skill tree right now, so I can't like show the full extent of him. I only have 15% crit chance, and then you see the 802% crit damage. That is kind of crazy, and I feel like most people don't even notice that when they look at him. But his crit damage is so insane that he can hit for such high numbers. I gotta put him on this list. And in my opinion, is the second best nature unit next to the next unit that I have on the list. So he's actually only 777 to place, and he's really not that expensive to get to hybrid, as you see. He already gets hybrid at upgrade 3, and yeah, that means he's a pretty decent early unit. Kinda wish he was hybrid on placement, but you know, maybe that would be too OP because of the crit damage. But yeah, his damage is a bit mid because it doesn't really show the crit damage that he does, so his damage looks really bad when you just look at the stats. Now, of course, with the 800%, I mean, even at level 57, that is so much damage. Like, hitting for 8 million times 8 is insane. That's like, what, 64 million at not even max level or like max skill tree. So yeah, this unit definitely deserves a top 7 on this list. And yeah, I don't have much else to say about this guy. He's new, really good unit, one of the best this update, probably top 3 this update. So I would recommend go get this guy and use him. So for the next unit, I have the best nature unit in the game, in my opinion at least. I think this guy is better than Hakari just because of his multi-hits. I use this unit in every cavern I do besides fire because, you know, nature is bad against fire. But I use it in every other cavern I do just because his multi-hits on placement are so insane. So as you can see here, on placement, his damage doesn't even look that crazy. I mean, 700k is really not all that. But what I've found out is, on average with the crits and multi-hits, I would say he does around double the damage shown on his first attacks. So that is basically like 1.4 million on placement on average, I would say. And then you can upgrade to like the up to upgrade 3 where he then changes attack. But already at upgrade 3, he's doing so much damage on upgrade 2, I mean. And you know, if it like is really like double on average, that is 6 million damage for 4k cash. That is so cheap. And yeah, that's basically why I use this guy for every cavern. Now, he does lose the multi-hit on the circle AoE and then gets it back on the big cone. So even on the big cone, he does so much damage, like a lot more than it says on the numbers. This guy is just so crazy. He does so much damage all the time when I use him. So this unit, in my opinion, is definitely top 6. So now that we're going into top 5, this is going to be units that basically everyone uses, and everyone loves using Goku because he is so cheap for the damage he brings, and he's hybrid, all that. He's basically everything you need in a starter character, and he's not even terrible for like infinites and stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are using him for the new maps leaderboard runs just because, you know, it's nature enemies, so people bring fire, and Goku is one of the better ones. So already here on placement, he is doing like nearly 1 million damage. Plus, he is hybrid on placement, which makes him so good. And he's 650 to place, which is kind of annoying. Just being 600 would have been a bit nice, but you know, it's fine. You can place him on the second wave always. So now this is with Overlord, so of course his damage is not gonna be as crazy as someone like Yolkiora that I showed before, because that Yolkiora did have glitched. But as you can see, we're upgrading here, and he goes into this line, which I don't really like, but then he goes in back into a circle, and the big circle is really good. I mean, yeah, it's just really good. I don't have anything else to say. And he's really cheap to max, only like 50k. So yeah, this unit is really good. That's not even like one wave of farms that you can max him in. So amazing unit for early game, and I don't really have much else to say. I mean, everyone uses him, so I don't have anything special to say. Really great unit that I think is fair to put in the top 5. Now for the top 4, I actually put Guts as the number 4 spot, and he actually went down 2 spots from my last top 10 list. I had him in top 2 last time. It is still such a good unit, but this update just had so many insane units, and 2 of them are like better than Guts in my opinion. So yeah, I gotta put him in top 4 now. Still an amazing unit and the second best AoE DPS in the game. His AoE DPS is better than Sukuna's. So as you all know, Guts has been in the game for a very long time, so I won't be spending too much time like going over the upgrades. But yeah, he's really good as a starter. Not that good, like not a good early game unit, but when he goes into the full AoE, that's when he becomes insane. And then he of course has the last few upgrades, which just makes him like even more insane. Even if you cut out the last 2 upgrades, he would still be one of the best units in the game. And this guy has been on top of the unit list in terms of DPS until godly units got introduced. So yeah, this dude was the best unit in the game, and is definitely still top 4 and maybe 3 if you only think about DPS. But I do have 3 units I think have more use than him, so I'll be putting them above him, and I won't be using too much time on Guts here. I'll just move on to the top 3 since Guts is an old unit that I feel like everyone already knows pretty well. So this might come as a surprise for some of you, but I actually have Gojo in the top 3. Now this unit is maybe the best support in the game right now. I can't say for certain, but I think it might be. He has a nuke, he has a time stop, he has a insane slow. It's not just a regular slow, it's like 10 times better. Let's just go in and I'll show why he is so good. So as you can see here on placement, I mean his damage isn't that crazy, but his like infinity bubble, it is so good, bro. It slows them down so much. As you can see here, they get slowed so much, like it's actually insane. And later on I do also try it on some faster enemies to show y'all how much the slow actually does. So yeah, his damage is not crazy, but the slow bubble itself is just so good on placement that he can hit so much more than any other unit. So as we start upgrading now, you'll be able to see that he gets full AoE really early with multi-hit, plus he gets the unlimited void. So this guy is insane for the start of games. This unit is just, he's a infinite and a early game support unit. He's overall just so good, and his damage isn't that crazy. I mean, the multi-hits does do more than it says, and you can get up to like 12.3 million every 2.5 seconds for like barely any money. I mean, that's 1 wave worth of money. And then as we keep upgrading, he is just gonna get some more damage, and then the nuke that I gotta save up for first. Well, I actually don't, because I do know what the nuke does. It is 7.5 billion damage on the whole map. It's not as good as Sid's like final nuke, because Sid's nuke does 10 billion and Sukuna has a nuke that does 10 billion, but 7.5 billion is not bad at all. So yeah, that's what his nuke does on the whole map, 7.5 billion to all enemies. Also quickly here's the difference between the slow and no slow on these enemies. The difference is actually insane. You could see them run so much faster after they got out of the infinity. So in the number 2 spot, I actually don't have this unit myself yet, but it is the godly Hero and Error form Sukuna. So I have someone here that can help me showcase this kind of. Just at least let me explain it a little why he's number 2, even though it should be pretty obvious. But yeah, as you can see, he has a huge full AoE on placement, and he is 5k to place, which is a lot, but the full AoE, bro, if he was hybrid on placement, that would literally be game breaking. So I've told my friend here just to upgrade every like 5 seconds, so we can just see his damage slowly go up. Take a look at the new moves. Now when he gets like rid of the full AoE, that's gonna be kind of sad, because I'm pretty sure sure. Yeah, he goes into a circle with paralysis. Now, paralysis is really good, but I don't know, man. I think I prefer the full AoE a lot more. He does go into hybrid though, which is something, but it is like 40k to get to hybrid, I think it was. And his damage just slowly increases, and we see that he gets like a cleave split here. And yeah, that's basically just more damage, and he goes back to the dismantle. And his SPA is so low with the damage he has. Like DPS wise, he is above Pride actually. If you don't count team buffs, he is above Pride. And if you give both of them the Pride team buff, Sukuna still has more. And then you can see that he gets this like half full AoE, which I feel like they could have just given him full AoE, bro. Now the range is actually insane, and he does also have his own leader buff here, because I feel like that's pretty fair. I mean, we didn't give leader buff to other units because they don't have it, but we're gonna give it to Sukuna and Pride because they're like the leader buffer. And he does also have the two abilities, Swell Cutting Slash, which is 3 billion damage nuke, and the Malevolent Shrine, which is a 10 billion damage nuke. And his DPS is insane at max. Again, without team buffs, he has better DPS than Pride. Now, if we're talking about AoE DPS, Pride has more, again, a lot more. And he does also have a better team buff in my opinion. I think 20% damage has a lot more use than the 35% range buff. So, I mean, we've all used Pride, but let's just go in and take a look at him, and I'll explain why I think he's better than Sukuna. So on placement, he is a bit cheaper, and let's just start upgrading a lot here. I mean, we've all used Pride a lot, so we all know how good he is. And he turns from circle into a circle and then into full AoE. In the full AoE, it's just so good, dude. Like his damage, of course, this Overlord Escanor versus the Glitch Sukuna before. So Glitch Sukuna is of course gonna have better damage, but they're like really close when it comes to pure DPS. And then Escanor of course has the advantage with a full AoE versus Sukuna that has like a half full AoE. And Escanor has hybrid on placement, so you can even use him early in some stages like legend stages and stuff, and he'll actually do really good because of his insane placement damage. And in my opinion, Escanor just has a better team buff, and it's just a better unit overall, so I have Escanor above him. Let me know if y'all disagree with anything on the list out, and I hope this list here helps some of you out to know what you should grind for next. Thank you guys for watching.